Welcome to Terror in Tandem, a podcast about finding entertainment in the macabre. Hosted by the knowledgeable and lovable Laura and Richard Mathiasen. Each episode, we discuss the horror genre, from books to film to TV and beyond. And sometimes, even from the beyond. You can find us online at terrorintandem.com and on Instagram at terrorintandem.
Hello.
Hi, back to the old intro.
Yeah, our Terror Fest is over, and now it's time to return to regularly scheduled programming.
To every season, turn, and what a way to start with recommending what's coming out in November.
Absolutely. It's getting a chill to the air.
A little bit.
And a nip to the nose, and it's a perfect time to hunker down inside, just like every other month of the year.
Yeah, I was just
and read and watch some great horror.
There is something really nice, especially if you live in the north or the northeast. There is something nice about hunkering down and getting all cozy indoors while you're watching horror movies.
Absolutely.
It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Oh yeah, big time.
And also, it's easier to hear without the AC going. That background hum.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Or central air.
Yeah, for sure.
Or the pool. People constantly jumping in one of the pools.
So what is November?
November is a month.
Oh.
In the month of 12 months. I thought we were not doing this anymore.
I mean, where would you say in the months would it fall?
It falls
the
at the 11th month.
Towards the end then.
Towards the end of the
cycle.
year.
Yeah.
Of what you would consider as the year.
As an annual. Or maybe an anus.
And November is the start of holidays.
It is. It's the start of cozy season. That's the way I like to think of it. You hunker down, you light some good campfires or indoor fires, like in a fireplace.
Contained fires.
Yeah, I'm not like, yay, it's the time to commit arson. No, just put on some sweaters.
Yeah,
Drink
you
hot
gotta
cocoa.
hide that extra poundage from the Halloween candy and the upcoming Thanksgiving holidays.
I was just gonna say the upcoming, just gorge yourself.
Gorge Fest.
Yeah, this
this is really about
Dionysus
giving
Reborn.
and getting high blood pressure.
I do like this season.
Yeah, it's a time for getting ready to get through the winter.
Yeah, and coming together. Honestly.
So we're going to give you some options on how you can explore some horror in the upcoming month of November.
Here's the thing. Back in the day, I feel like it used to be much more cyclical, but November is stacked. I had no trouble coming up with stuff to look forward to in November.
Yeah.
Well said, Richard. Well said. So who wants to start?
You.
Me? I'm gonna start with...
Okay, hold on. How many do you have?
3.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my first one is a movie. It's coming to Shudder on November 10th, and it is called Mandrake.
Oh.
Mandrake.
I shudder to think who's in this.
Well, it is coming to us from Northern Ireland. It's a trailer that, like most trailers these days, I did turn off halfway through.
Yep.
And read just a brief synopsis. The trailer has a really cool look to it. It's very green. It's very in that, I mean, it's verdant. It takes place in rural Northern Ireland, so a lot of trees, a lot of forest. It's very rainy and damp and gray. So this movie stars Deirdre Mullins playing a probation officer named Kathy Madden, who is her life is falling apart. She's divorced or divorcing her young son.
Same, Deirdre.
Goodness. Wait, hold on.
No, I'm just kidding.
Breaking news.
Oh, geez,
Breaking
Deirdre.
news. There's someone at the door with a packet of papers.
Dear Deirdre, I feel the same.
Wow, I'm getting Sudeikis right here.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, this is terrible.
Hold on, I got to whip up a dressing.
All right.
In my salad.
All right. I am super depressed. So anyway, So like me, Kathy Madden's life is falling apart.
Come on. I took that. You can't take it.
So she was she's divorced, and her young son, her ex or soon to be ex is dating someone else that her son is now calling mom. And, so things are going that way in her life. So she takes on probation of this woman named Mary Laidlaw, played by Durable Crotty. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is quite a name, yes.
Well, Ireland.
So she is known colloquially in the area as Bloody Mary, and she has just spent 20 years in prison for murder.
Yeah, as she does. That's her job.
Now, she's released back into this rural town where everybody knows her past, but no one wants to talk about it. Now, Mary is thought to be a witch, and she really looks like one, and she kind of seems to act like one. There's also something in the woods. Corresponding with Mary's release, a couple of kids go missing. There are some murders. It's up to Kathy to both, act as the probation officer and defend her charge, but also find out what's going on. Kathy herself seems to be an unrelatable narrator, as, everything around her in her life is falling apart. And it looks like a very moody folk horror.
It looks like right up your alley.
Probably one I was just going to say, probably one I'm going to be watching alone. I wanted to talk for just a second or two about what a mandrake is. Now, it's a root that when you pull it up, it kind of has a humanoid shape to it. It has like a head, a torso, and two arms, two legs. Now, the ancient tale of the mandrake is that when you pulled it out of the earth, it would scream and die, and the scream would kill anyone that heard it.
Right, and that's like Harry Potter.
Yeah, so that's
if you were familiar with that. And
exactly. That's
that scream.
That's where J.K. Rowling got the inspiration for that. Is the actual ancient tales, and there are old witch books, written by monks in like the 3rd, 4th century or whatever. That describe this and describe safe ways of extracting the mandrake, which involve using dogs that would then die instead of the master, which is not cool at all. Do not approve of that method. But the actual mandrake, if consumed, has highly narcotic and hallucinatory properties. So I'm guessing that plays pretty heavily into the film, and I can't wait because that's my jam. November 10th, Mandrake on Shudder.
That's awesome.
Cool beans.
Enjoy that. So my first recommendation is The Menu.
Oh, yes.
Coming out on November 18th.
I'm interested too.
Starring Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, and Ray Fiennes. And just a brief summary. Again, this is like a movie that, a trailer that I didn't really want to watch. It feels like it's been played a lot, so
it's been playing before every movie you and I see, for sure.
Well, we
do see a particular
taste.
type most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time.
So the overall summary is a couple travels to a remote island off the coast to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared an intricate menu with some shocking additions. It's directed by Mark Mylod, who directed Succession, Game of Thrones, The Affair.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So that he's got, I understand the visual. It's like very like crisp, very produced, like really looks very stylized.
Fits the tone of the movie of like rich people at an exclusive thing. Yeah.
And interestingly, it's written by Seth Reese and Will Tracy. Now, Seth Reese has been the head writer for The Onion for a really long time.
Oh, that is great news.
And Will Tracy has written for Succession, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and also The Onion.
Oh, wow. So sounds like this movie's going to go in a direction I really want it to.
Well, sardonic was the word that I came up with.
You came up with that word?
I mean, for this movie.
Oh, amazing.
To attach it to. Sardonic, dark, witty.
Yeah.
Nicholas Hoult, if you guys aren't familiar with Nicholas Hoult, just do a quick little Google search, but he has been for the past couple of years. He's been in The Great, which is about Catherine the Great, but it's really also about him. And he is so hilarious. So my assumption, and I could be completely wrong, is that the writers, having written sarcastic humor, dark humor, I'm hoping that this will be humorous.
And Rafe Fiennes is so menacing.
Yes, he is. And
I mean, as an actor, I don't know anything about him as a person, but his presence.
Yeah, no. I think it's really great cast. There's a lot of people in the cast because it is an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Judith Light.
No kidding.
John Leguizamo.
Wow.
They're also in it.
Yeah.
So
Judith Light.
Yeah.
Oh, is Tony Danza going to be in it? That would be amazing.
No,
well,
she who was actually the boss? It was the mom, Angela. Mona, right?
Yeah.
Mona. Judith Light was Angela.
I maybe watched that show a little bit.
I love that show.
I did. I had a crush on
much. Obviously.
I mean, we're like the same age, basically.
Yeah. Tony Danza. How could you not love it?
So
there
is like a weird connection there also because Nicholas Hoult was in Mad Max Fury Road, and he was great.
Mm-hmm.
Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be in Furiosa, which is the next George Miller movie. It's a prequel of Charlize Theron's character from Fury Road. So they weren't in the same movie together, but they probably sharing a franchise.
Yeah. They probably talked a little bit about
their experience.
Oh, here's what you can expect.
Here's what it's like shooting in the Australian outback for a mad Australian director.
Yeah. So check it out.
Wonderful. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Very excited.
It's got all the hints of like a nice class-based takedown of in the vein of like Society.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy's character doesn't look too jazzed about all of it.
She seems to be
Nicholas Holt's character is like all about it.
She seems to be like our entry, the audience's entryway into this.
Maybe she'll be the final girl.
Oh, she's another like automatic win for me.
Oh yeah, me too.
She's so good in everything. Me?
Yep.
Ooh. Okay.
Well, let's take a break.
Oh,
and then
right.
we'll come back.
I'm just so eager. Do you have a tiny pinhead because your mommy and daddy were related? Did you drown in a lake as a boy and emerge a fully grown man with a waterlogged noggin? Well, come on down to Michael Myers Maskmongers, where we've got masks that'll fit your warped skull so well, it'll feel like wearing nothing at all. Whether you're looking for the perfect clown mask, or something as far from that as possible because being a clown is your day job, Michael Myers Maskmongers has the largest selection and the best artisan mask makers around. How do we know that? Simple. We brutally murdered all of our competition. Plague masks, triangle helmets, pig heads, and more. Our selection is only limited by your fevered imagination. Michael Myers Maskmongers. Endorsed by every Ghostface since the originals. Warning, masks are not bulletproof unless you are. This is a fake ad for a fake product on a horror-themed podcast. We do not condone nor endorse murder of any kind, no matter how cool your mask looks. Welcome back.
Again. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back for the first time.
That was a great commercial.
Welcome back.
Thanks to our sponsors.
I think in my last one when I was mentioning Mandrake, I forgot to mention it is directed by Lynn Davison.
I don't think you can do that.
Well, I just did. So my next one is...
I would like to... Go ahead.
My next one is a movie that, unlike the last one, I think you might be interested in watching with me. It's called Nanny. It is director Nikyatu Basu. First-time director. It's an American director whose parents are from Sierra Leone. I mention this because the movie is starring Anna Diop, who is a Senegalese-American actor who you probably would most recognize as playing Starfire on Titans. I'm going to level with you guys. I gave Titans one season, and I found it largely unwatchable. But Anna Diop was really great. and excited to see her in a larger role. Anyway, Nanny, Anna Diop plays an undocumented Senegalese immigrant in Manhattan working as a nanny for a wealthy couple played by Michelle Monaghan and Morgan Spector. They're, live in a nice place in Manhattan. They've got money. Their marriage is falling apart. Mm-hmm. So Anna Diop's character, Aisha, there's some form of trauma in her past. This is another trailer again that I turned off before it was over. She is, her goal as a nanny and working in this way is to get enough money to get her son to America from Senegal. Now, their tension arises when this couple their lives start to fall apart. They start getting behind on payments to Aisha. Aisha also starts to become plagued by visions that are being sent to her from famous figures in African folklore, such as Anansi, the spider god that weaves stories, that anyone who's ever read American Gods or anything by Neil Gaiman is probably familiar with Anansi. And also Mami Wata, which is a water deity. So it's featuring these gods and spirits from the African diaspora folktales and folklore.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. So, a perspective that we don't often get as American audiences. But also that following that trend of using horror as an allegory to explain very modern struggles, immigrant struggles, identity. It seems to me, from what little I did watch of the trailer, it looks like a very beautiful and surreal and moody, interesting looking movie with a lot of psychological tension mixed with this sort of blurring reality and these weird dreams that become waking dreams for Aisha. But there's that very modern, and well, it's not just modern. It's a very an American story of the struggle of a first-generation immigrant, of someone who is wanting to hold on to their identity of where they're from, but also forging a new one where they are. That feeling of no longer belonging to their home, but not fully belonging to their new home. I think it's so fascinating to explore that through folktales, through storytelling, and through horror, obviously, because horror is my favorite thing.
That's how, stories are shared.
And it's how we process things. Yeah.
It's how, people know that you once existed or that there is history behind a group or community of people. This
one's got a lot of promise. Blumhouse won a fierce bidding war after this film premiered at Sundance and won a grand jury prize. Leslie Uggams is in it also. That's another reason to watch. I think it's going to be great. I'm excited to watch it. Nanny. It's coming out on Amazon Prime.
Awesome.
Let's see. It's coming out. Actually, it's limited in theaters November 23rd, coming out on Prime in December. So whichever way you want to watch it, go for it.
My next recommendation is Bones and All.
Oh.
Yes, so it's coming out on November 23rd. It's based on a book by Camille DeAngelis. It's starring Timothée Chalamet, Taylor Russell, Chloe Sevigny, and Mark Rylance.
What a cast.
And it's directed by Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah.
Who you may know from our previous conversations on Suspiria, because he directed Suspiria and Call Me by Your Name.
We love him here at Terror in Tandem.
He's an Italian director, so it's going to definitely have this is going to be a raw, bloody, dark love story
with a lot of, I'm guessing, sensuality, because Luca Guadagnino's movies they're lavish.
Yes. So it's a love story of Marin and Lee. Marin is an eater, normal in all respects except for her inherent need for human flesh, and is learning how to survive in a society that doesn't accept her. And Lee, a fellow eater who's also a drifter, and they basically cross country, take a road trip, wander around trying to find themselves while they're, discovering each other and their struggle to find their place on the margins in a world that can't accept them for who they are. And who they are cannibals.
Oh, yes.
I didn't want to, I don't really want to give any more than that away. I feel like that's pretty wrapped up in the trailer.
It's Luca Guadagnino and Timothy Chalamet working together again. That's
yes.
enough.
So it's going to be romantic. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be dark.
I struggle.
And probably a little heartbreaking.
Can I get real for a second on Real Time?
Sure.
Real Time with Richard. Cannibal movies are hard for me. I've seen a bunch. I love them. It's not that I won't watch them. They're just, they're hard. They make my stomach churn. And especially when you mix sexuality into that.
Yeah, you don't like sex and horror.
I don't like sex and horror and the prospect of eating certain things. Listen, I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there too. This seems like a real missed opportunity given Luca Guadagnino's previous working experience with Armie Hammer. Why is Armie Hammer not in this movie? This is the perfect movie for him. Do you think he's like a consulting producer?
No, but maybe he got this idea from working with
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, it was a book. So it's based on the book.
Maybe he got a taste for it.
I think it's just coincidental.
I think it's pretty fucking coincidental.
I think Armie Hammer is busy in the Caymans.
Yeah.
Running hotels.
Deserting families, eating people.
Did he desert them or did they desert him?
Desert. Poor choice. Anyway, that aside, I am interested in this one.
Yeah. Give it a go. It's coming out late November. As I mentioned earlier, November 23rd.
I am so excited about this one. I'll admit, I knew it was in production. I didn't realize it was dropping so soon. It is coming out November 4th on Shudder. Once again, thank you, Shudder. I'm talking Satan's Slaves Communion. Now, this is the sequel to Satan's Slaves, which came out a few years ago. The same director and writer, Joko Anwar, who anybody familiar with Indonesian horror is familiar with Joko Anwar. Joko Anwar has been a real trailblazer and at the forefront of this explosive revival of Indonesian genre filmmaking over the past 10 years or so. So the first Satan's Slaves was another Shudder exclusive. It was a remake of basically the Indonesian film industry. It had a real heyday in the 70s and 80s. And then it sort of went away. It died down. But that's what inspired the current generation who are, all in their 40s now. They grew up watching the original Satan's Slaves, which came out, I believe, in 1980, and other classics like Queen of Black Magic. So the one I'm talking about, it's a sequel to the remake, which came out a few years ago. It's about a family that the mother has made. She's dying. She can't really communicate. She's a fading starlet, a famous singer, and she has made a deal with the devil, and it's affecting her family. And I'm not going to say a lot more than that. It is one of the scariest movies I've seen in years. Satan's Slaves. So
wow. There's been some scary movies out too.
Unbelievably, like just good old-fashioned, scary as hell kind of movie. And I felt watching that movie the same way I felt when I first discovered Japanese horror, like watching The Ring when I was really young. That excitement of like a whole new world. Don't you dare close your eyes. It's like, and Satan's Slaves was one of the movies that really got me, along with The Raid, to explore Indonesian horror, and I'm so glad I have because it's so good.
Well, if you didn't know this is the first film, the Satan's Slaves Communion is the first Southeast Asian film that will be released in IMAX.
Yes, it's shot in IMAX as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that stuff like that just gets me really excited because when big foreign companies are investing in small, scrappy, upstart industries like this, sure, there's always the risk of commercialization and you might get some crummy stuff, but it means more funding. It means more projects. It means faith. We're going to get more stuff from Joko Anwar and Timo Tjahjanto and Kimo Stambol and all those wonderful Indonesian filmmakers who are pumping new excitement and blood into the genre. And you can tell.
When is it coming out?
I'm really interested. November 4th on Shudder.
And when is the other movie on Shudder coming out?
Mandrake on Shudder is coming out November 10th.
So you could do like a free 7-day trial of Shudder and watch both of them.
And then get addicted to Shudder and just stay forever and keep watching movies. It is just real quick. What I really liked about Satan Slaves, especially, is it's got a lot of the Western tropes of horror movies, possession, demons, deals with the devil. But Indonesia is a Southeast Asian, predominantly Islamic country, with a very ancient indigenous culture as well that varies based on where you are. Indonesia is a huge country made up of many, many islands in an archipelago. You know, there's Bali, there's Java. And each of these had their own ancient religions and cultures. And mixing all of that together just means, to a Western viewer like myself, it's just so refreshing. You there's enough there that's familiar that you don't feel lost or out of place as the viewer, but it's all from a brand new perspective. And it's like, I don't know. It's like your first Stephen King, you know?
Well, speaking of book, my next and last recommendation is a book.
Oh, books.
It's called The Hollows.
Oh, cool. I've heard of this.
And it's coming out November 8th. So if you're going to look this up or you're interested in it, definitely look up The Hollows November 2022, because there are a couple of other Hollows books out there. So
is that spelled like with an A or an O? Like hollow, like empty?
like
or
Halloween.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. Hollows. The Hollows.
Yeah.
By Daniel Church. It takes place in an isolated village during the coming of a monster once in a century snowstorm. So again, perfect for hunkering down in winter. The local police find a body. It's a rich local who appears to have drank too much and froze to death, but there's something amiss and the evidence isn't lining up with an accident. Then more and more victims start to be found as the storm intensifies. And so as the storm gets, more violent and more intense and closer to the village center, as do the body count of the people who are going missing. And so there's like this storm intensity, the body count intensity. And so I think it's going to be a really good mix of that, like high tension of what's going to happen when the storm hits.
Nice ticking clock of
and
the
what's
storm.
going to happen after the storm.
And also the terribly human, habit of not doing anything about something until the storm hits.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, we should have done something before this storm hit.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Oh,
I've not read anything from Dan Church before. I think this is maybe his third novel. So it sounds great. It sounds like a perfect start of winter book. And check it out.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. In between all the movies, read a book.
One other thing we wanted to mention is one of the foremost emerging directors.
Yeah.
Todd Sandler has directed a brand new rock video from the band Here's to Now. The video is called Control, and it's essentially a horror movie contained within a video.
It's really fun.
So just a shout out to Todd Sandler.
Yeah. So the video's on YouTube. Here's to Now, Control. And to check out more of Todd's amazing work, go to toddisandler.com.
Sandler.
Yeah. So, yeah, with that, sounds like pretty stacked November. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. Cozy down, watch all this stuff, read a book, have some hot cocoa.
Yeah, absolutely.
And listen, as always, every week to your favorite podcast, us.
Yeah, Blubber Down.
Yeah.
Blubber Down.
Love it. So long.
See you next time.
Bye.
Terror in Tandem is written, produced, and recorded by Laura and Richard Mathiasen, and edited and mixed by Richard Mathiasen. Our theme was written and performed by Carrie Denver, and all other music was written and performed by David Hispanic. All opinions expressed on this podcast are our own and should be taken as such. Thanks for listening, and please remember to give us a like, a review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. We're still